everyone, and welcome back. And today we are going to be playing Orzhov's Skeletons using United Battlefront along with Corpse of the Lost to put in a lot of pressure very quickly. And one of the main reasons we are actually able to do this deck is because of the most helpful Weaver. A lot of times in skeleton decks with United Battlefront, you have to play more creature-based skeletons. But with the Weaver, it provides so much value in comparison to what they would, even though the skeletons would have haste, that this is just a really good hit off United Battlefront, and the creature part doesn't get to dodge it. But we also have the case in here to make extra skeletons along with Corpse. And the other good part about it too is if you play this on turn 2, you play Corpse of the Lost on turn 3, and then this will most likely pop and go to the graveyard. Or even the turn it pops and goes in the graveyard, you play Corpse of Loss, allowing you to pick it back up and just get to play it again. It's a very good synergy there, as you'll see often in the video. Other than that, we have 8 1-drops that are creatures and 1 to help us protect ourselves. This deck list is, I believe, 33-8 in Mythic by the player that I show in the outro. I may have closed it and I can't find it again, but I show it in the outro and we kind of talk about it a bit more there where I think we should talk about it most. So we're going to go into kind of our ranked ladder here and try out the deck. All right. Sure, I guess. Right. Pretty good hand. Got a lot of value in it. We can play this on white right away. Not have to use it. Saving ourselves a little bit of life. Tapped. Obviously, we'll end up taking some damage off starting town, but not going to be able to solve all those problems, right? No mana used here. We're going to end up having a shock in Godless Shrine anyway, but we don't have to do it necessarily this turn. And it doesn't reveal anything, so we just play it this way instead. Against our opponent here. He's on Jeskai, it seems. Get in there, buddy. 14. Going fast? Yeah, that makes sense. All right. How lucky are we? I would argue lucky. Here's 8. Yeah. Pretty good. We like that. We like that. Put him in a really tough spot. Although we probably could have left 1 maybe. But so it's more mana efficient to do it that way, I think, but let's do it this way. So I guess then I have the option in turn. Maybe I should have sheltered it, I suppose. I don't know. Because Lightning Helix obviously shows its face here. Sure, they're obviously going for a Helix to go to 6. And this is why shelters matters. But I should have just done it ahead of time. How much is it to crack? 2? Here. Combat. Use. Yeah. I guess this should just be like Corpse, right? Or not Corpse, United Battlefront maybe? Although I don't know how they beat a Corpse of the Lost ×3, but I also don't know how they beat this. Especially if I rip a land. Yeah, let's just grab that. Then we buy one of these back. Decline. We don't have the mana to keep paying for them, so we'll just go ahead and do this. Then Helix again, sure. So go to 5. I get to do exactly here, which is a great way to do it. Let's make our token. Let's play a scavenger here, even though we already have it covered. Take this. Take this out. Put the counter here. And then we have even a little extra to spare. Taking out control there, pretty nice. Obviously, being on the play helps a ton. No Authority of the Council is being played right now, so that obviously also helps a lot. So we'll take that win and move on. First, once again, however, will we recover by going first so often? So annoyed. I have a hair in between my glasses and my face. I can just see it, bro. It was locked in. That hair was messing me up bad. But we'll get to go scavenge here. Green. Could probably imagine we know what that is. We're going to play this a bit differently. I obviously kind of want to play the case, but I'm going to go for the spider instead. And the reason we go for the spider is because we can play case on turn 4, and that creature will have haste because of Corpse of the Lost, right? So it's also possible we know where to run. Badger Mole most likely coming in. No Badger Mole. Here. 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 It's a wide spread. Sure. Here's 6. Is this the dragon deck? Sure. We might miss a land, so we obviously would love to play another corpse here. And by the dragon deck, there's a Golgari one that primarily plays a lot of dragons that... You're a pirate, so you dodge shoot the sheriff. Gotta know your cards. Outlaws. Pirates are outlaws. This being a pirate means it's an outlaw, so shoot the sheriff cannot answer it. I think that's what you see our opponent trying to do, and we play around the shoot the sheriff. So this is going to deal 6. They're going to go to 1 here. Gotta know the cards. Know what they do. It all matters. And I guess I'll pick it back up. This Corpse of the Lost has been their nightmare. Even though it didn't really matter because of this, but Leyline Weaver. Okay. Badger Mole Cub, sure. And then the thing about it is we just go too wide here, and it just doesn't matter. A little too far behind. Here's 6 of it. Didn't really get to start off their Badger Mole Cub like they would probably have liked. They went with a shoot the sheriff route, and then maybe he had a Badger Mole Cub to play the turn before, but then didn't realize that the skeleton I was making was also a pirate, so it dodged to shoot the sheriff, which is always really nice. So we'll definitely take that for sure. On the draw here, it's an interesting one. We'll try. I mean, probably gonna end up shocking this in regardless, so I'll just do it ahead of time. Thing of bossing say tells me maybe it's the Golgari deck I thought I was playing last game that I ended up not playing. So this is the dragon variation. They're gonna play the ones that like shuffle themselves away, they ramp, so we kind of have to close the game fast. If we can't, we're obviously gonna struggle. Right now they can technically play a land and wipe my board, which is pretty bad. And that's kind of going to be the case for the rest of the game. The counters aren't going to matter enough, I don't think. Their opponent ramp... Oh, I said their opponent ramp and miss a land. It will really rely on us to case here. And then, yeah, there it is. Dude, 3 seam rips and a matchup that they literally do nothing is tragic. Like, these do nothing. Or arguably, I'm not even supposed to play that so I can pop the case, but... Sure. We'll see if we're just going to get outvalued. This matchup's going to be a nightmare for us if we have to play it a lot. I do think this deck's not that great in best of one. I don't know like their game plan against the graveyard decks, unless of course this player put them into the deck, because it played like 3 scavenging oozes in the side. So it's really up to our opponent whether they put those in their deck or not. Got a hit. Well, I mean, there was a hit to be had. That was it. Like, obviously, not even close. We'd love to hit 2 Corpse of the Lost, but can't get everything that we want, right? Another Dragon here will basically wipe us out, and I'll probably just move on. There's, like, still technically a chance we could win. But I just, sometimes the... Oh, never mind. Mill him over. That's our chance. Mill him over. Get that guy in the yard. Our seam rips are still useless. They do literally nothing. Oh, they did put the oozes in, so they, I would say, took it upon themselves to put the card that you have to be playing in best of one in. So they definitely know what they're doing, at least on that front. A lot of times, if they do the dragon here after all this is said and done, then yeah, we'll concede. Yeah, you got it, bro. You got it. Like, you had everything, which is fine. We drew 3 seam rips. It's not even that they had everything. It's like we have 3 cards in our hand. They're basically done, but our 3 cards do literally nothing because they're also non-land permanents. So even anything that they erp in here, these still can't do anything. So unfortunate, but it is what it is. Oh, kind of a gross one, but we'll try. Need to go here, maybe into this. If not, we'll just flood out a bit with our creatures and just play them all out. Dead card now. I like how in back-to-back games, honestly, the last 3, my removal's been kind of useless. I think the worst part here is kind of gonna have to like force them to remove my stuff. Like, they're most likely going to look at this board next turn and be like, yeah, how do I not board wipe that? And I wouldn't blame them. We'll see. Island, only 1 damage on the board for our aggro deck on turn 2. Not that great. Our removal's bad. And we rip a seam rip after kind of already knowing we have a dead card. They do nothing. I think I want to kind of force something to happen. Seam Rip doesn't seem like that great, but it can technically pick up an authority of the councils. So I don't want to play this because I feel like it's just bad. Let's move to combat. Then we'll just say go ahead. We'll flash into nowhere to run on their end step to pump our stuff. We'll force them to kind of board wipe us here. Let's flash this in now. Obviously, it doesn't have a target. It requires 3 mana to bring that up. So obviously, that's going to be a bit of a like issue. But they have to decide on this. Also, bringing up the land after a nowhere to run's been revealed is kind of risky. Because it's control. You don't really want to get to the part where you're falling behind because of that. Spread the counters on everything. What do we want to do here? I mean, I guess it's fine, right? Because I attack here, they bring up the land. Oh, they just take the damage. Okay. End the turn. Weird. We're trying to play this really awkwardly. Kind of force them to maybe Ultima us here, which would suck because then everything, obviously, we're looking to activate this land on end step. Maybe after a Day of Judgment. There's a green showing. Interesting. Your mill? Yeah, I guess so, bro. Yeah, because that's Mill, right? Yeah, Mill's 4 cards. Their demo field's tap, but of course they obviously don't have the mana here. So if I do Seam Rip, I get... Yeah, if I do Seam Rip, I have lethal on board. I think I have lethal regardless what they do. I'm assuming it's like a counter spell here or a get lost, and I have both of those covered. 6, 7, 8, 9. I have lethal on board, by the way. Like, the lethal is actually in play currently. Decline paying. But we'll just do this. Did I think I was going to win here? No. I just assumed against this match. Like, I seen blue-white, and I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. We had to worry about Pinnacle, Day of Judgment, Ultima there. The counter spell, we just kind of got to play around a little bit. The Nowhere to Run didn't really do anything. They didn't crack a fetch land and gamble on this to, like, block a creature that would have been free, but then we would have played a Corpse of the Lost, make a creature, pick the Corpse of the Lost back up because a permanent would have hit the graveyard. Just a really weird game that was. Awkward. I would look. This is the thing where I'd love, because on MTGO, I believe you can, like, players can show their hand. I'm so curious what this was. That's wild. Oh man, a really defensive hand for being on the play. So we're gonna maul, and thankfully we did, because that last hand in comparison to this hand sucks. So, keep bottom there. Here on black, enter tapped. Then we'll play the Verge. I understand that means if I rip another starting town, it could enter tapped, but whatever. It'll be fine. I just think taking minimal damage is also good. Corpse of the Lost or my 2/1. Which one will I grow? Okay. Counter to a 3/2. Man, this is going to be a whack one. They discarded that? That's insane, right? So I can hit for 3. Yeah, I'm going to remove this. I think we want to be able to hit them for everything. And just having a creature get traded off there doesn't seem great. And then we'll Corpse. Sure. I guess that makes sense to discard that then. And pick it up now. Is what else would you pick up now? This will be a weird one. Oh, I mean, that makes sense. Here. Here's quite a bit of damage. Down to 8. Do I want to get rid of this or bring this back? I mean, let's decline. I have things I want to do with my mana, and United Battlefront is 100% one of them if I rip a good land. Obviously, we have less of a chance because there's a land on the bottom, so it's like weird because the percentage is slightly lower because we know that a land's on the bottom. But there could always be a land on the bottom. Our opponent kind of stuck in a weird spot because of this. Also, if we rip another Corpse of the Lost, I'd much rather play the second one, putting everything up to almost lethal. It would go to 1. Yeah, I mean, it had to be the color, right? There's another Terror. They don't have a Bringer in there yet, so we should feel pretty comfortable. Obviously, the Bringer is the card that does everything. No shock. Smart. They block, they get a trade. But I can case, and then whatever they bring out this turn, I can shelter after, right? And they have to block here. The shelter's only +1. So obviously, we want to be wary of that. Put them down to 2. This also has menace, by the way. So this isn't even really blockable. So sheltering by ghost this is pretty nice. Are they bringing out terror? Sure. Maybe looking for removal. We're also going to shelter by ghost to 3/2 here because again this has menace. So it's guaranteed. So say they have a removal spell here, right? If they remove this in response, they would have it, right? But because the shelter is now attached with 1 mana, they don't have it. But if they remove this in response to me trying to shelter by a ghost, this is like a small thing. They remove this pirate, so they have a bounce spell or something. They remove this before the shelter attaches. They get to keep it, and then the menace creature just gets through for lethal because they can't block with 1 creature, so we get it regardless. With that, we'll take it. Very cool. This is what it's like to win a couple of games. You just start getting weird hands like this that do nothing. Okay. Shelter, I guess. It's so weird because like Seam Rip is obviously good. We will start playing the starting town and stuff here. Okay. I don't even think I care now. Maybe I should have started off with white, knowing that I want to Seam Rip this turn. Potentially, but we're going to take away their kind of double sack outlet when they also mauled. Just seems like a decent play. Here's a corpse. Here's 3. Also, being able to double chump block is really good. And our opponent, okay, sure. All right. We'll keep here. Oh no. These cards can either be very good for us or we don't draw a land in time. 2 things can happen. Boomerang. Trying to find a land opponent? They probably already had a land, let's be honest. Nah, I'm good on that. Oh, shelter is even better because now they can't remove it as easily. And I don't have to take a damage here, so. We obviously could have taken Storm Chasers, but keeping the pressure off the board when we're also an aggro deck seems better. It seems better for now. It could be wrong. I'm always down to be wrong. Another Boomerang basics. This is also why you could argue, like, just remove the thing while you have time to do it. Sure. Also, shelter is like negating this creature right now, which is pretty nice. So this needs to be on black. I guess let's shock this in regardless. Combat. Attack. I do want more damage here, though, so. Also, it puts my creature out of the kind of one-hit range of any of the 1-mana burn spells that they may have. Although this guy will be cooked. But that's fine. When we're going to double Battlefront, I'm definitely throwing a skeleton out there because he's not near as, like, worrisome, I would assume. Sure. All their mana in order to answer that, which is fine. And this is where this is going to be hopefully good. Not bad. Could have been better. The real downside is when we get IRO'd here. I will say that will suck. Don't IRO me, bro. Don't IRO me, bro. Don't IRO me. I mean, just play your entire hand, but that's fine. I could still get IRO'd here, by the way. If this is land IRO, I will throw up. Yeah, swing. Bring it up, dude. So this does become legendary, and because this name is only Spider, we do have to choose here and here. Don't mess it up. Nowhere to run. Obviously, take out Grand. Scavenger. This can attack, so yeah. Doesn't really matter which I choose here, so just double choose that one. Stack in the format. Getting absolutely run by the Skellies. But Skellies and Spiders, dude. So yeah, we'll take it. All right, so here we are with the Battlefront Skellies, and I do want to really bring up the list that I found because I think that's only fair, and it's actually pretty sweet. I don't know when the losses. This says 32-5, but it says overall it's 33-8, so I'm not entirely sure. Apparently, they played 4 minutes against an unrated opponent, apparently. But weird. Okay. Pull this over. Here. There's gonna be some amount of ads, I think. So we'll see. Oh wait. My screen capture is gonna be messed up. Hold on. Can we fix this real quick? I don't. Bro, live action right now. Y'all need to see my browser, bro. You don't need to see all my stuff. I'm just kidding. I don't care. But don't worry about my Windows needing updated. Leave that alone. It always breaks Go XLR sometimes, so I don't want to fix it. However, with all that said and done, 32-5 it says here, but underneath here it says 33-8, and obviously this is all the way into Mythic, as you can see kind of their activity of playing it, which is awesome. I always love, there was a break in between here where they apparently played something else, but you always, or no, they skipped that rank. Yeah, but you always love to see a deck that can actually perform at the higher level, especially with how many decks are going to be playing the is it kind of nonsense or anything from the league. As you can see, they went 3-0 against is it. We would have to assume this is the monument deck, but against mono green they're 6-2, which is even a better thing. And against mono white, that we argued was a very good win rate deck, going 6-0 against it, which is really nice. And the only really loss here is against Mardu, which is interesting. And then 4-color. And this isn't reanimated because no green in there. So I don't know what these two are. No, never mind. This is just guy control. But 4-color control probably. And then beat Golgari, beat green-red, and kind of split out. And even now, is this a lot of games? No, in the grand scheme of things. But it's a decent chunk of games for a deck, at least in Mythic/Diamond, that you can actually get a good feel on how it is and how good it may or may not be. So, with that said, it's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's a very good, viable deck here in order to play. I just closed that, and I won't have it for the intro, so whatever. But it works. It just works out well. You have enough 1-drops so you can either defend yourself or start your game plan immediately. And then you have a good, strong 2-drop that we think is just good on its own. Where the problem with Case of the Stash Skeletons, this card is not that great on its own. the creature has to leave the battlefield, and then you have to wait through that turn, and then it activates, and then you have to activate it on your turn. So it's just like very slow, where this kind of puts your opponent on check pretty quickly, especially the double strike part, or a thing where maybe they remove the spider with a counter or something else, and you brought back a Forsaken Miner and you put a counter on it, and then maybe you Shelter by Ghost it, and then right there it's up to a 4, and that's hitting for 8. Or you have a Corpse of the Lost and they got the counter that way. Or maybe you have all that plus you play Corpse of the Lost and now it's hitting for 10. It is quite a lot of damage, and it just adds up so quickly whenever you have a good supportive card like the Helpful Weaver. And then obviously Corpse of the Lost, we saw how much value it provides in any game whatsoever. And then getting to play United Battlefront with basically everything hittable. So non-creature. Only non-hittables. Obviously lands aren't hittable, but everything else is. And I think that's the other part that this card's good at, is we normally had to play other skeleton creatures. And this is just a good backup hit off United Battlefront, and it has a lot of value, as we saw in the game where we hit 2 of them. Now, if they IRO'd me and removed all our creatures, we'd have been in a lot of trouble, but they didn't. So we won the game, and that's just how it goes. With that, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I had a good time playing it. This is a deck that I'll probably come back to, because I actually enjoyed this type of aggro deck, and I always love Corpse of the Lost. I think this card's super sweet. So with that, I hope you all have a good one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.